we need to be really good at understanding, because our role is to recognise what is the world telling us and how do we actually succeed inside that constraint, if you like, in that way. And I just found that we'd go from week to week to week to week to week without having any form of reflection around that. The other thing, we'd also do that with our team members. So I'd always make sure one of my weekly catch-ups with my team members was only ever about them. That was only ever about them. And the three questions at both an organisational level and a personal level was, I'd ask three questions: what happened, what now, what next? What happened? What have we learned? What do we do with that learnings now? And what next? Does it mean we're still on track in that sense, or do we need to change track, in that way? So less tactical, but just more consistent application of system would be my take. To lead, what is your most effective strategy to onboard others? Just make the stories. This key element to this is, do people understand what we're trying to do? First question, do people understand what we're trying to do? And then they go, yeah. And I go, do you know now how your contribution matters to what we're trying to do? And if they don't know what we're trying to do, and they don't understand how their contribution matters to what we're trying to do, well, the chances are you're going to get something less than what the possibilities are from that individual. And so I reckon that's a really good check-in. Are you sure people understand what we're trying to do here? Yeah. And then they go, and I think that's one of the secret sources of what Chris Fagan's done. He's really simple in what they're trying to do. Like, he borrows from Ted Lasso, for goodness sake. Like, it's the most obvious thing you could ever think of. But I reckon every single person who's been part of their premierships over the last couple of years would say my contribution to this was important, and regardless of what their role actually was, whether you're Harris Andrews playing, leading the back line, or whether you were the person who was, was just making sure that the drinks were ready when the boys came back off the track. It's all of that stuff which I think is important.
Yeah, and I think while there's a few more coming through, and I'm conscious of it being 108, but even when we're talking about this, whether it's what we're doing as a parent, what we're doing as a sibling, what we're doing as a junior football coach, what we're doing in the workplace, it's across all of those, which I love.
Yeah, no, very much. So just looking at just a couple of questions here, and wonderful question from Anna in regard to the performance aspect of it is mate, there would be no high performance environment in the world who would think catching up with your person once or twice a year to give them a performance review actually works. Recognise the value of every single conversation you have by regularly assessing how your people are actually going. So I just call it, you are the talent manager. And so therefore I think some of the most important conversations I had with people were actually the little 2-minuter, the little 3-minuter, and where you had, and if you're going to give feedback, it's just, again, you notice I go 2s and 3s often, 3 rules: can I back it up? Is it important? Is it coming from a good place? And if it's a tough piece of feedback, which if you can back it up, it's important, it's coming from a good place, you're dishonouring the person by not giving them that feedback. If it's a good piece of feedback, well, that can happen often, when you're walking down and have a cup of coffee. That's okay, mate. That was a terrific presentation the other day. You nailed it. I was starting to get a bit, I thought you were bloody, those people in the room were being disrespectful. You brought them back in, they whatever. By the end, mate, you had them in the palm of your hand. That's the sort of conversation people would, and why is that important? Because, mate, they're really important to us, those people, but that's also great for your development, that you saw that and you drew them back in the room. That's the sort of conversation people then go home and talk to their partners about. I'll go, hey, this good chat with Cameron today, about this. So performance review, so I think that's why I say you assess your team on a weekly basis. Not because necessarily much has changed, but because you probably never did anything about it the week before. That's the reason. You're always looking at ways of means of which you can actually have those conversations. And there was also another one just in regard to the filtering of information. Yes, they do, and that's the line, no one tells a CEO their baby's ugly. But what you do is if you make it just a regular part of it, the first few times you've asked people to give you feedback, it's not very good. Then you coach them through. No, hang on, there must be more to this. You can't just, stop talking all the good shit. For me to grow, for me to learn, I need to hear how you're experiencing me. I know how I want you to experience me, but if there's a gap between how you're experiencing me and what my intention is, I need to know about that, and then I can go to work on it. And I would say what Chris is now getting at Brisbane would be pretty high quality but he's earned that right, in that sense.
That's right.
If you're doing it as a one-off, you're never going to can get that stuff. Yeah,
that's exactly right. And like now, they're going to go through their next layer of challenges, and they will hit that head on as well. And I think that's the great part about what we do. There's always changes, but I think going back to, because I would like to wrap up, just conscious of your time, mate. You started with this, and you've sort of been very consistent with. It's about the system. It's about the framework. It's about the system. It's about the framework, and making sure we stick to that.
Yeah.
There was a few other questions with regards to the recording. Yes, it will be available, so we'll reach out to you guys, and for those of you that want it, we will definitely send it on. There's no problems with that at all. Once it gets out of post-production, it'll be available for everybody that joined us today.
Well, thanks very much for the opportunity,
mate. Thank you again. It's always fantastic. I love spending time with great people, and the ability to have you online for an hour or so has just been priceless. So hopefully everybody else that was online got a lot out of it, just as much as what I've written down as well, because I've got a lot here now to take away in the next hour or so. I like doing it straight away, reflecting, and then working through the different elements with work, and with as a father of 3 boys and a junior coach over here, and there's a lot of things that I've taken away. So I certainly appreciate you being a part of this masterclass today, mate.
Sort of practicing artist as well, so I like doing that stuff.
It's very good.
Sorry?
Certainly not practicing. It's got past practicing.
Oh, you're always practicing, mate. Don't worry. So I think that's part of it. No, I ended up studying fine art, so that was something which I was very lucky and very fortunate to be able to do when I finished in footy. And then there's about sort of 25 little videos, similar sort of conversations to this. They're probably 4 or 5 years old now, but I think they probably still stack up. And
absolutely.
And so the website design.co, it actually is just www.design.co, is I wanted to make it sort of quite resource rich, that people can go on there and look at videos, they can read a heap of blogs, and they can watch the podcast. But the podcast is obviously on Apple and Spotify and all. That's called In the Arena. The Arena. Yeah.
Make sure everyone gets on there and looks at all the resources, use it. That's what it's for. And again, this is about, we spoke about this in terms of what do you need to be a student of, and constant learning. I think that's the great part. That's what these masterclasses are about, and the sharing and the ability now to take that to the next level. So, mate, thank you again. It's been an awesome 65 minutes or so. I really appreciate you jumping online and sharing as much as you have. Hopefully everybody online has got as much as what I've got out of it, and I just want to say a massive thank you again.
Yeah, good on you, mate. No, thanks for the opportunity, and I really appreciate that you've reached out and enjoy the conversations that we have, and good luck to everyone. It's mate, leadership's tough, but it's also unbelievably rewarding.
100%. Yeah. Thank you. Signing off till I see all you guys next time. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks, Kevin.
Take care.
Cheers, mate.